Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service, broadcasting live from the KFAB Penthouse Studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about business expansion, real estate, construction, really economic development, anything related to Omaha becoming more vibrant and more prosperous. Thank you to our sponsors, Dingman's Collision Center with 4 metro area locations, and Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. And now, without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker, all-around good guy, and native Omahan to boot, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning, Trenton. You know, you and I, we have been known to enjoy a restaurant or two, a cocktail bar or two. Wouldn't you say that's a fair statement?
A lot of it is, yes, and a lot of that is research for this show.
Yeah, that's the only reason you do it.
To report to our many fans and listeners.
Well, the reason I bring that up, Trenton, is we have a Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review this week, written by Sarah Baker Hansen, the premier food critic in the metro area. And we do these generally about every other week. They appear in the Grow Omaha newsletter. If you don't receive that, you can simply sign up for it by going to growomaha.com or sending an email to news@growomaha.com. They're also available on the growomaha.com website by clicking on Eats, E-A-T-S, on the navigation bar. This week, Sarah reviews the Stuffed Olive. And this is one of the 2 new cocktail bars that originated in the Iowa City area that have opened in the not too distant past inside the Capital District, the other one being Roxy. These are in the 3-story mixed-use building that fronts Capitol Avenue. A lot of people know it as the building that has Let It Fly and Texas de Brazil in it. But Trenton, I read the review. I've not yet gone to either of these 2 places, which is kind of weird for me because I'm usually quick to go try new cocktail bars.
Well, there's a lot of new restaurants and cocktail bars coming up. Flagship, Omaha's favorite, who has Blue, Roja, Plank, a lot of different ones, and there's so many different opportunities down there and different options that people really ought to go try, and it's not your father's downtown.
Yeah. So anyway, she talks about just the cocktails. She kind of portrays it as a place with a lot of 1990s era martini nostalgia. I do remember martinis were a big deal in the mid to late 90s. And looks like a cool place. And, if you like a good martini bar, they also have regular cocktails as well. You might want to check that out. And that is your Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review of the week. Shall we go into the news?
Yeah, we shall. But I think we need to mention that you and I graduated college in 91 different colleges. And
1991, that is. Yeah.
It was usually it was like $1 or $2 beer night that we would frequent. And now people coming out of college are going to places like this Stuffed Olive and spending $10 to $15, $18 for fancy drinks.
It's kind of funny, though, that you mentioned that because you and I, in the years that we have been age eligible to drink alcohol in public, have gone from $1.50 beer night to, well, that cocktail is only $18. That was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and for that, that really helps the advent of these fancy places.
Well, with that, we're going to go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Thank you, Eagle Mortgage, for making the news segment possible. They've been with us for a long, long time, and we've gotten to know Eagle Mortgage so well. We've referred countless people to Eagle Mortgage who needed to get a home loan, and all of those people have said, Jeff, Trenton, thank you so much for sending us over to Eagle Mortgage. Holly Schneiderwin runs the place. She's got a great team with her, and they'll do all types of housing loans. And remember, we're, now at the beginning of March. I mean, it's March 2nd. People are thinking this is the crazy time for buying houses. People are thinking about moving when you get to March. One of the first things you want to do is go meet with Eagle Mortgage, talk about your situation, get yourself a pre-approval letter so you're all prepared. If you find that perfect house, you're in good shape. And sometimes still, even though the housing market is not as crazy as it was a couple years ago, we are still seeing people having to compete in many cases for certain kinds of houses if it's a really desirable place or in a certain price point. So talk to Eagle Mortgage. They'll take care of you. And remember, they're not a bank. They shop the banks. They represent you and help you find the best lending option possible.
So unless you're paying cash for a house, contact Eagle Mortgage.
Trenton, if they're paying cash for the house, everything I just said is pretty much non-applicable.
I know, but I just talked to about 99% of the eligible house owners.
Okay, with that, we'll get right into our news of the week. The first thing we have for you, work is now underway to convert the former Omaha Housing Authority office building at 27th and St. Mary's Avenue into a new campus for youth emergency services. A lot of people know youth emergency services by the acronym YES. And YES basically works with Omaha's homeless youth population. Really good services, a great organization from everything that I've found out. They're going to renovate that old OHA building, but the northern portion of it is gone. The crews have demolished it, and in its place will be constructed a 4-story residential unit that will be part of YES's services. So a nice project there on the west side of downtown.
Yeah, my friend Erica Schwarting does a great job with YES, Youth Emergency Services, and every year they have a nice gala, and I got a table, and very happy for everything they're doing there.
The Exarban Curling Association plans to build a $7 million curling facility at Tranquility Park near 120th and West Maple Road. The project would be in addition to the massive overhaul of Tranquility Park that has already been approved and talked about here on the show on numerous occasions. The Curling Association still is raising money for this. I don't expect groundbreaking to be anytime terribly soon, but Trenton, you should take up curling.
Well, a curling facility, I assume it's indoors since it's ice and they want to go year-round.
Yes.
$7 million sounds like a nice facility. And other than Council President Pete Festerson and his family, I don't know anybody that's into curling in Omaha.
I do remember seeing a little bit of one of the sessions, matches, whatever you call them, back when the U.S. Olympic curling trials were going on in Omaha. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was riveting.
The Federal Railroad Administration is proposing several new Amtrak passenger railroad routes, including one that would give Omaha north-south railroad passenger service. Right now, Omaha has service along a line called the California Zephyr, which connects Chicago and San Francisco. If this new north-south route were to happen, it would start in Minneapolis, go southwest to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Omaha, Kansas City, eventually working its way over to Albuquerque and Phoenix. So that'd be kind of cool. Very early in the process, no guarantee that this would actually happen. The long-awaited construction begins Monday on the 192nd and West Dodge Expressway interchange renovation. And this is going to be dramatic, Trenton. It's going to go from what is considered kind of a low-volume rural interchange right now to a diverging diamond interchange. Wow. These are the kind, some of you maybe have experienced these. If you're in the state of Missouri, Missouri has tons of these things. But when you're coming to the road either under or over the freeway part, you'll end up going, if you normally drive on the right side of the road for a little while, you go over to the left and you come back to the right, and it's designed to make it easier to merge onto freeways. It's weird if you're not used to them, but they actually move traffic more efficiently than traditional roads under or over freeways. So that starts Monday, going to take about a year to complete that project.
Is that opposed to like a cloverleaf or half a cloverleaf?
Yeah, cloverleaf is the ones where you have everything if you have a full cloverleaf, that every way you want to go is a loop-de-loop. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only true cloverleaf in Omaha is L Street and I-80, I believe. But
we'll go with that.
There used to be.
We won't take that call.
There used to be a cloverleaf, I think a full cloverleaf at I-680 in Dodge, but when the Department of Transportation made that kind of big circle over there, they got rid of some of that. By the way, Nebraska Department of Transportation does a good job, but they missed the boat on that I-80, 680 interchange. That thing should have been the high-speed direct ramp style like you have at 680, 80 and I-480, 80. That thing backs up like crazy. That was a mistake.
If you can't tell, Jeff is kind of a connoisseur, if not an expert, in highway transportation.
Well, Trenton, I'll take that. Now let's talk about the big story. The big story this week is the Crossroads Mall. I know we get a lot of Omaha listeners and readers that email us, what's happening at Crossroads? Why isn't that moving faster? We don't entirely know, other than the fact that it's a tremendously large project. There's been one of the partners passed away not that long ago, but we do have some changes. And there is going to be some proposals about the Crossroads that will go before the City of Omaha Planning Board this Wednesday. First of all, the overall value of the project is now estimated to be up to almost $862 million. The developers are proposing to increase the tax increment financing from about $80 million to about $105 million. The ownership group has changed somewhat. Woodbury Corporation out of Salt Lake City has joined the group. Woodbury, very respected commercial real estate developer with about nearly $5 billion of assets under management. Another big change, a lot less office space and about double the number of residential units as originally proposed. And perhaps the biggest change that people would notice, instead of preserving and using the existing massive Crossroads parking garage, that would go gone, demolished, and parking would be interspersed throughout the project, including a couple levels of parking garage space underground.
Wow. It's in good hands. Lockwood and Woodbury would do a great job there, and Century Development is still involved.
And a couple other projects going before the planning board this week. 1508 Marcy Street, if you're wondering, where is that? Well, it's just a little bit south of Leavenworth at 15th Street. It was an old kind of underwhelming industrial lot with some small buildings. Those have been demolished. We talked about the project last year, but there's been a couple little changes with it. Looks like it's going to go ahead and get started, assuming it makes it through planning board. But it's a 4-story building on top of indoor parking, 83 market rate apartments. Seeking almost $2.5 million in tax increment financing. It's nearly $19 million project. Construction could begin by the end of this spring, and completion is estimated to be July of next year. And then finally, Open Door Mission, which has a complex at about 23rd and Locust Street, south of Epley Airport, if you will. They are planning a multi-phase, huge expansion and renovation project. I'm not entirely sure over how many years this would take place, but we're talking about new 5-story building, new 3-story building, a couple smaller buildings, renovating space, and that plan is going before the planning board at least to get some zoning changes to make it possible. So Trenton, everywhere you drive in our town, we see growth and development, and it's pretty exciting, and there are no indications that that's going to slow down.
Yeah, it's exciting, but you're seeing new districts getting built. Heartwood Preserve. You're seeing proposed new districts, 192nd Avenue 1, and that kind of stuff, which has already started, but they're talking about doing it a lot bigger, and it just keeps on going.
And that's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on one of our colleagues, John Meyer of NAI NP Dodge, a commercial real estate broker, and he's going to help us kind of talk about what's going on with warehouses and factories and distribution centers, the sexy side of real estate, industrial real estate, but it actually is going to be a lot more interesting than some of you might think. There's some drama in the industrial market. So stay tuned for our discussion with John. You're going to love it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is a name you want to keep fresh in the front of your mind if you have kiddos or grand kiddos that want to compete and want to learn leadership and want to learn communication and become better kids and better future professionals someday. Cheer Athletics is in the all-star cheer business, and competitive cheerleading is actually a big-time sport. You wouldn't believe the number of people that participate in it and the sophistication level at the competitions. And Cheer Athletics is considered the Cadillac brand in the all-star cheer world. And we're lucky enough in Omaha to have one of the few Cheer Athletics locations in the country. It's in Papillion near Highways 50 and 370. And if you are thinking, hey, I want to check this out, or I'm not 100% certain about it, but I want to at least know about it to find out if it's right for my kids, just go to CA Omaha, CA as in Cheer Athletics, caomaha.com, and you can join the All-Star Cheer Revolution. Well, we've got our colleague from NAI NP Dodge with us today, John Meyer. Good morning, John. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you back. And John, like a lot of our brokers at NAI NP Dodge, does all sorts of types of real estate deals, any you could imagine, but he focuses the most on industrial. That's his favorite area of commercial real estate. And why is that?
Because I am not a patient man, and those industrial deals and the guys that I usually deal with are very direct and kind of no nonsense and straight to the point. So that's really why I enjoy doing that, because I'm not a patient man.
And if you have to focus on one, I call them food groups, whether it be retail, office, industrial, apartments, investment sales, that kind of things, really industrial is probably the fastest right now as far as it's most in demand. So people have to make decisions. If they find an available vacancy, and John and I work a lot together in the industrial sector, people need to commit, and they need to be decisive.
Yeah, they do, and they need a good, knowledgeable broker who knows about what's coming online before it's coming. And, because if you're a tenant out there looking for representation, you really need a good broker that's in the know and can get your foot in the door before some of these deals even get brought to market.
John, well, go ahead, Trenton.
Well, he and I have a couple subleases as well, 20 to 40,000 feet right now, where industrial is in such demand, and a lot of these third-party logistics firms and stuff that handle other people's freight, transporting and storing, what happens is sometimes they grow out of space, or they need a bigger space, so we're kind of moving people around, which presents opportunities. And what else do we have, John? We have a couple of those, right?
Yeah, I'd put a shout-out to my good friend Jim Kunkel with Try Hard Logistics. I found him via a cold call about 3 or 4 years ago, and I fostered a great relationship with him, but we've grown him from 10,000 square feet to over 300,000 square feet in a 3-year period. So,
John, what's the current industrial real estate vacancy rate here in the metro area now?
Right now, it varies depending on size groups, right? So under 100,000 square feet right now, we're at like 2.2 or 2.5, I think, percent. We're actually, Omaha has the second lowest vacancy rate among all major U.S. markets. The only market ahead of that would be Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That's crazy, because if you say something is less than 3% vacant in the real estate world, you might as well be saying it's 0% vacant, because it becomes very challenging to find space, if only 2.5% of it is available.
Yeah, when I first got into the brokerage side of this industry about 6 years ago or so, the vacancy rate was closer to 5.4%, which is our where we traditionally stand. But post 2020 and the COVID and the pandemic and everything has really driven driven that vacancy rate.
And in those 6 years, we've seen it probably go up. I would say 40% as far as rental rates.
Yeah, rental rates have gone sky high. It is definitely a landlord favored market. It's a great time to own industrial real estate.
Well, and existing real estate it has become more valuable because it's so expensive to build.
So expensive to build. Land costs are expensive. Really, the scarcity of land that is zoned for industrial real estate and has the proper infrastructure, so sewer and proper roads and highways and the actual infrastructure that you need to be able to do an industrial development is just really not out there right now, which is really kind of a shame.
Yeah, guys, it's interesting, though, because when you have really low vacancy rates, and we've been low for a couple of years now, the thought is, they'll just build a whole bunch and pretty soon you'll have too much. Well, we still have these really low vacancy rates in the industrial real estate sector, and we've been building industrial space for the last couple of years like crazy, millions of square feet.
Well, we have such great demand for it, and the interesting thing is it's like we're not like a Phoenix market where they places like Phoenix have overbuilt like millions of square feet of industrial speculative buildings. And we do not have that here.
So. But we're seeing some regional and national players like Opus, and then some strong local developers like White Lotus, New Street, R&R, and these. It takes the vision and the bank accounts of some of these people to build 100, 200,000 square foot speculative buildings, meaning without a tenant, and the demand is strong enough that they can build these logistics parks, and high cube warehouses and stuff like that. So there's still demand, but also, John, when we're dealing with 5,000 to 20,000 square feet, those are really, really hard to come by as well.
Those are even harder, I would argue.
Okay, we're going to take our middle of the show break, but when we come back, we're going to continue talking about the state of industrial real estate in the Omaha metropolitan area. And we're going to talk to our colleague, John Meyer, about some new construction within the industrial market that has taken place. So you don't want to miss that. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. Dingman's, that's the name you want to know if you have any bumps and bruises on the automobile. Whether they're big ones, minor ones, medium ones, they'll take good care of you. 4 metro area locations. Piece of trivia, Trenton Magid was involved in getting them a few of those metro area locations. But Dingman's constantly wins that Best of Omaha contest for best collision repair, best auto body. They just take good care of people. Family-owned business. The workmanship is second to none. And if you find yourself in a situation where you need that kind of service, don't hesitate. Don't even blink. Just tell the tow truck driver, take it to Dingman's
Their
Collision
mechanical
Center.
shop is great, too, at 120th and Maple. Whether you need your tires changed, your engine worked on, or whatever, they do it all.
Your Bentley fixed.
And that's the voice of John Meyer, who's one of our colleagues at NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. John's successful commercial real estate broker, does all sorts of deals, but his favorite sub-market within commercial real estate is industrial. And speaking of industrial, John, you are going to share with us the top 5 industrial leases of the last quarter.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So this data comes from CoStar Group.
Is this number 5 or number 1?
This is I will go in order 1 through 5.
Number 1.
Number 1. Top lease, 2421 River Road, Council Bluffs, Iowa. That would be the Opus Development Group project that they did down there.
So so people know where that is, are those the 2 brand new warehouses right by the I-29, I-80 interchange?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Gray with blue stripe.
Yep. And so with that, there was 157,000 square feet approximately leased. That was Camps, which is a pallet manufacturing company They were represented by our good friend Brian Hartman,
Our
in
associate.
office. Number 2 was 7130 Q Street in Omaha. That was a 89,000 square foot renewal with FedEx. So FedEx was put into that building or renewed their lease there. The other one would be 2421 River Road, Council Bluffs, Iowa, again at the Opus development that we were just mentioning.
The other of the two warehouses.
Yeah, that was 75,000 square feet that was done there, and the tenant that went into there was Jay Skinner. The other number, I don't even know where we're at. It's number 4, 13661 Giles Road, which is the one that I'm very familiar with because I helped my good friend Jim Kunkel, Try Hard Logistics, move into that 64,000 square foot standalone building. We actually got that done before it ever even hit the market, so that was a good one to do. And shout out to the CBRE competitors on the other side for that transaction, making that smooth and seamless. The fifth lease was 7820 L Street. It was 33,000 square feet that was leased by the Flat Rock Group. So there you have it, the top 5 Q4 deals.
And we're seeing big deals and small deals go, and we're always looking for space. So if there's any landlords out there, call Trent Magid or John Meyer if you need your industrial building leased, sold, or whatever you want to do with it.
John, let's talk about some of the new construction projects that are going on in the industrial world. What's being built where these days?
There's, we could start over on the eastern side of town, start over there in Council Bluffs. So that Opus development that we were just talking about, that's really a good prime example. There's another, I think, about 800,000 square feet of speculative space that's going to be going in over there.
At the same spot?
No, a little bit down the road. But we're seeing a lot of development over there.
Well, all the way down to Mills County, there's been talk about giant logistics buildings in Mills County, and then New Street has an industrial park, a logistics park over by Nebraska Crossing in Gretna as well. But it's hard to find these land deals. We've seen big buildings go up Highway 50 and where else?
And on to that Gretna point, that NC Industrial Park that that filled up quick and it's pretty much built out, which is just on the other side of the west side of
Nebraska
Crossing there.
But you're also seeing we're still getting these large data centers. Google, Jeff, as you know, the greater Omaha area is, I think it's the largest concentration of Google data centers in the country, if not the world.
You are correct.
Well, you've got Tesla, is going in over in Council Bluffs.
They built a big maintenance facility for Tesla over by the casinos, but over by the Mid-America Center, kind of, that sat there for a long time, right next to those Opus buildings.
What about up by the airport?
So, down by the airport, well, you've got Green Slate is, I think they've been waiting over a year or so for the surcharge for the dirt that they had to bring in. Probably down there, there's probably some wet dirt down there, given the fact that the river used to run through there.
Well, there's a legislator, Justin Wayne, has been in the news, and other members of the unicameral and the Omaha contingency discussing a 90-acre airport industrial park to make jobs and build buildings. And they get, what is it, $90 million?
Yeah, about that.
And funding for that. So hopefully that'll increase some jobs there. But we don't see as much development by the airport as we do between Omaha and Lincoln. But we're also seeing industrial coming out, Blair High Road, Highway 133, kind of where that Google facility is.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that, and that's a tough area out there for development, just due to the the topography.
All right. Well, we are running tight on time, as we are wont to do on this radio show. But John, thanks for joining us and helping us inform everyone or update everyone with the industrial real estate market in town.
Happy to be here, and just a shout out to Kevin Widener.
All right, there we go.
And congratulations on the new member of your family, Della.
Yep, Della Young Meyer was a week old on Thursday.
And congratulations, Hilke and John Meyer, for their second child. And congratulations to Vera, the older sister, who's 2 years old, and I'm sure she's listening and comprehending everything we say.
Yes, she is.
All right. Thanks, John. Appreciate you being here. That's John Meyer from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, it's the lightning round. I'm looking at the list, and there's quite a few things on there. Don't want to miss any of it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. It's time for your lightning round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. And as usual, we got some pretty good things to share with you. First of all, Mocha Nut plans to open soon in a former mathnasium space at 147th and West Maple Road. If you can picture it, there's a strip center there, has a Chipotle, a First Watch in it. Mocha Nut sells Moki Donuts. And if you're wondering, what the hell are those? Well, they're basically a donut that originated in Hawaii and are a combination of American donuts and Japanese mochi. This is a chain based out of Los Angeles, 150 locations in the U.S., South Korea, and Thailand. Trenton, I think you and I have to put the opening on our calendar.
Absolutely. We need to report for the troops.
Maybe we could relive an experience that you once had at Krispy Kreme when it first opened.
Hey, $75 is $75.
All right, with that, Gray's Craze Charcuterie Boards and Boxes has opened at 220 South 31st Avenue in Midtown Crossing. Gray's Craze is out of West Palm Beach, Florida. 69 locations in 28 states. Other nearby locations are in Lincoln, Kansas City, and Denver. Everyone loves a good charcuterie board. And
I love that name.
You could pick Gray's Craze.
Froth and Brew.
De Leon's Taco Rico opened this past Monday at 1201 East Pierce Street in Council Bluffs. Our own Ed Pecci from NAI NP Dodge represents De Leon's Tacos. And De Leon's is out of Lincoln, has 5 Omaha area locations. Okay, a lot of people ask us on the various Grow Omaha communications channels, what's happening at 120th and L Street? Well, we've got the answer for you. 2 restaurants are going to be constructed very soon. In fact, site improvements started already this week for a Scooters location, Scooters Coffee on the corner. I know, hard to believe that there'd be another Scooters built in town.
Just when I was saying we didn't have enough scooters.
Exactly. And just to the west, construction is expected to begin in 90 days on a burger detour. That would be the third one of a locally owned concept that only just recently
One is open like
opened their first one.
183rd and Maple.
Yes, and the other one under construction at 204th and Pacific.
I've heard both. I've heard mixed reviews, and probably worth a try.
I try everything at least once, but I haven't been there yet, so we have to put that on our list. Abelardo's Mexican Fresh will open a restaurant inside the former Sinful Burger at 4005 Twin Creek Drive in Bellevue. Abelardo's is based in Papillion, and this surprised me when I was looking up this information this week. Abelardo's has 50 locations.
In the Metro Omaha area?
No, 13 in the metro area locations. They're in 6 different states, but they started here.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough scooters or Mexican restaurants.
Good point. Hawaiian Brothers Island Grill has announced that its first Nebraska location will be open in the middle of this month. It's in Gretna in the Wicks South Point development, which is southwest of Interstate 80 and Highway 370.
Congratulations to the Hodges family, Dean Hodges and family. They have a number of Jimmy John's, about half of them in Omaha, and then they also have Williamsburg Pizza.
Another question that many listeners and subscribers ask us, why did they build that new retail strip southwest of 168th and Maple and there are no tenants in it? We didn't know that either. It has been sitting there for a long time, but we find out there are 2 new tenants going in to the 2 end cap spaces of this retail center. And if you're sitting there thinking, where is this? Where is this? Okay, there's a Target store, southwest corner, 168th and Dodge, new retail strip just west of that. The tenants are going to be Golf Tech, and a second location for Talus Spirits and Sustenance, a restaurant that started not long ago in Papillion.
Got it.
So I'll have to try that as well. Speaking of golf places, the Back Nine, an indoor simulated golf venue, plans to open in a 2,140 square foot space in Regency Landing. That's the development at 107th and Pacific, so right at Pacific and I-680 that has been renovated and redeveloped. The Back Nine will be open 24 hours a day, and it allows customers to play simulated versions of famous golf courses, so like Pebble Beach or something like that. The St. George, Utah-based company currently has 12 locations in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Soon it'll be 13, and you can throw Nebraska in there. And Trenton, I'm just waiting for you to say this. We need more Mexican restaurants, car washes, and golf places.
Yeah, it takes a lot of balls.
Joy Foot Spa plans to open this spring at the Westroads Mall. This is a local spa concept, has the same ownership as Tranquility Spa, which is also located in Westroads Mall. Speaking of Westroads, we're getting a little intel that we could hear something in the not too distant future about the former Granite City restaurant building on the northwest corner. So we'll have to keep our ears open for that.
And my prediction is something that we've talked about on this for a long time, is that the Yonkers, long vacant Yonkers, will likely be
Dillard's, but that has not been publicly announced. But that's the rumor that keeps going
it's been
around.
Publicly rumored on this show
around the market, if you will. So a local place, Doodle Art, has leased just under 1,000 square feet in Rockbrook Village next to Security National Bank, if you're familiar with Rockbrook Village. And Doodle Art will be a place for children to do sensory art classes. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds like kind of a cool place if you've got kids that like art. And with that, the music is playing, which means that unfortunately we have to take a break for almost an entire week, but then we'll be back with you next Saturday. In the meantime, hope you have a wonderful, nice weather weekend. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.